Joe, at Big Ten Media Days last week, Lincoln Riley was asked about the rivalry with the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a long-standing rivalry between the two. In the comment to Lincoln Riley in his response about the Notre Dame game and the rivalry, he says, and I quote, "Do I want to play this game? Hell yeah. It was one of the reasons why I came to USC. But also my allegiance is to USC and going to do everything that I can to do to help USC," indicating that he doesn't know if they're going to continue to play this rivalry between Notre Dame and USC. Joe, I got an easy solution. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Play them in the beginning of the year, every single year, and make that your big out-of-conference game. Guess what? Like Clemson and South Carolina and all the other teams that have in-state rival outside of conferences do. The easy fix.
That's been like – sorry, I'm going to cut you off. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, but, I mean, it seems like this rivalry might be in trouble.
Well, one of the thing that you just brought up with the rivalries being moved up to the beginning of the year, that is something that's been pitched by a lot of people, that if we move that to week one, or there's also been the even more aggressive thought of like, let's make week 0 actually week 1. Let's move rivalry week to that second to last week of August, or that last week of August, whatever it is, move it to that spot so that there's less issues with impacted conference play and all those things. But here's what bugs the crap out of me with the whole Lincoln Riley perspective on the USC Notre Dame game. He said a lot of the right things. I give Lincoln Riley credit to hyping it up and talking about the importance to him. And he went as far as to even bring up, I don't know if it's true, but he went as far as to bring up how he gets to coach in the Notre Dame USC game was the first thing that he thought of when he got offered the job. The problem is that he then used this as an avenue to start preaching the 4-4-2-2-1 model.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said last week, the flaws that come with Tony Petitti's plan for this playoff model, as opposed to the 5-11 model, he's bringing up, we need to have unity and a schedule across the sport that is even, that everybody's doing the same things. But the problem, when we go to this play-in style to then earn opportunities for bids for your conference record is the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter what you do in your non-conference. So you can't talk out of one side of your mouth saying that if we move to this new model, we get to keep this important rivalry, when that rivalry just basically becomes an exhibition game in this new projected playoff plan. It doesn't make any sense to me, Blake. And I think that this is just continued proof that, no, he and USC are not serious about keeping this game. And they've been unsuccessful about competing with Notre Dame in the past 20 years. They have been getting their asses kicked. Him specifically has been getting his ass kicked. And historically, Notre Dame has the upper hand in this rivalry. They are not motivated because they know that if they play them, there's a strong chance that they're going to lose, and it's going to impact their resume, and it's going to hurt their chances of getting in.
Damn.
That's what I said the first time about that segment. that video got taken down for undisclosed reasons.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Damn.
But am I wrong?
No,
I keep coming back to this shit that Petitti said. It's like, oh, well, if everybody's got the same schedule, we can figure this out. No, you can't. These games don't mean anything.
No, but why would you? But there's a couple of layers to this. Number one, hold on. Don't get mad at me. I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's trying to say. Why would I play tougher teams when literally I got to do another play-in game and do all these things? Listen, I don't agree with him, but I understand what he's saying. That's number one. Number two, I think it's bullshit. Okay? Could you imagine a rivalry and how much bitter it would be if, Joe, you had a 5-year window of me and you coming out here talking about Notre Dame and USC in the conversations in leading up to the season? Yep, and we got Notre Dame and USC, as we always do, in week 1. I'm telling you, a whole all season between those two fan bases, things would get toxic. Good. That's what a rivalry's supposed to be. I love the idea of that. I understand what he's trying to say. I don't agree with it. There does come a point in time, though, that I got to say this as well. Tony Petitti in this 4-4-2-2-1 model, as you brought up, it's hurting a lot of things. Joe, by the way, I heard over and over and over again from Indiana, from James Franklin, and from Lincoln Riley at Big Ten Media Days. All of them took shots at scheduling, mainly at the SEC. Lincoln Riley tried to cancel the LSU game a year ago. They're trying to push off what seems like the Notre Dame rivalry yet again. Joe, the only teams I see canceling games are the ACC and Big Ten. It's the only ones. So you keep talking about scheduling and all this, and the Big Ten fans come out here and say, we play 9 conference games. You went to 9 conference games in 2026. It's the dumbest move per James Franklin that you did. Don't know if I agree or disagree with him. Why does everybody got to conform to your set of rules? Why? They don't. They legitimately don't have to do what you do. Joe, you got to keep the AQ models alive. I think you hit the nail on the head here from a broader perspective, but I wanted to hear from a broad perspective, you're 1,000% correct. From a narrow view, this is the problem of the expansion. And Notre Dame and Southern Cal are getting thrown into this abyss of what they both need to do. With all due respect to Notre Dame, you got to play tough teams on your schedule. You do. You're one of the only teams that's worth the damn, okay, that is an independent. Great for you. You play a lot of tough teams. Good for you that you have your independence. But, Joe, there is one thing about this. A lot of the conferences aren't necessarily disagreeing with one another. A lot of your mold of what you do has Big Ten teams in it. They're going in a different direction, and you're not in a conference. You're kind of in no man's land. I am not saying for Notre Dame to join a conference. I'm not telling you to do that. But as things start to shift and these are different alliances, Joe, when's the last time that Notre Dame had 2 SEC teams on their schedule? When has that ever happened beyond this year? What I think is happening a little bit here, some of these Big Ten teams, Michigan, Michigan State, whoever, USC now potentially, these Big Ten teams aren't scheduling you. Joe, you play A&M and Arkansas this year. Like, it's not as if that I remember Notre Dame playing that many SEC teams. I remember playing Georgia once.
Yeah, they had a home and home with Georgia.
I mean, historically, it's not come to the South. I mean, I don't remember it being a massive thing here. I legitimately don't. But again, I think Notre Dame's going to have to pay attention to this Big Ten thing. And I wonder, conspiracy theory, if Tony Petitti's not telling people to back out to try to go get Notre Dame to join their conference. You're kind of in no man's land right now, and no one's telling you to join. But there does come a day as all these new realignments in college football is changing. Joe, you got to be open to the opportunity. I hate to say it. I understand everything that goes on beyond it. But, Joe, I mean, when they come to these college playoff games and this college playoff and everything that's expanding, Joe, why do you never hear Notre Dame say a word about anything? Because they're not backed by a conference. All of these presidents and commissioners and all of these head coaches have a commissioner to back them who has a vote in this thing. Notre Dame's in la-la land.
Well, in a good way. They're in la la land in a good way because everything has been
bad or wrong.
Everything has been catered to them, which is, I'm not going to complain. Notre Dame has we talked about this when they changed the AQ model. Notre Dame now can have
the number one overall, right?
A bye in this circumstance. Notre Dame fans should be rooting for not expanding the playoff and it's sticking at 12 because you're in the best possible situation. And also to your point, Notre Dame now in the future, in the near future, they've got in 2029, they're playing Alabama and Texas. They're playing Texas and Arkansas in 2028. Purdue is kind of always like a floating team on the schedule. The only like big Big Ten brand outside of, actually, I'm not even going to include Purdue. They play Michigan State twice. They have a home and home with Michigan State. They play Wisconsin next year. It's really not a lot of Big Ten teams, which historically it's been a lot of a rivalry that you had with Michigan and with Michigan State. I have said this on the show before. I'm not a true advocate for Notre Dame joining a conference because at the current moment, the way things are situated, especially after that update to the seeding system, it doesn't make sense for them to join a conference. But it would not surprise me if in the next 10 years, they're not a member of the Big Ten. It wouldn't surprise me. And I also always love to bring this up too. Reason why Notre Dame's not in the Big Ten is because of Michigan. I forget what the exact story is, but Michigan went out of their way to keep Notre Dame out of the Big Ten. And history is looked on that very favorably for Notre Dame and less favorably for Michigan.
Well, Joe, again, and the overarching theme of this, we barely talked about the rivalry. But what do you want us to do? I mean, I don't know where else to talk about this on. In reference to what direction did you think that we were going to go in talking about this?
It's all about resumes. It's all about resumes.
It's all about resumes. And quite honestly, with all due respect to Notre Dame, okay, you did schedule a lot of tougher opponents. Okay, you are coming to the South. Joe, I got to be real with you. I think that the Big Ten is just kind of putting their hands up and saying, if the conference – Tony Petitti ran out there at Big Ten Media Days and said, the only thing that we want to matter is conference record. Do playing games in conference record. He's on record, pun intended, in saying that. Joe, why would they play you? Why would they play you? I mean,
there's the money that you make off of
Why
and also for the broadcasting the game.
Yeah, sure. Sounds great and all that. All good. But the real money and what you're really trying to do is get to a playoff. The Notre Dame rivalry doesn't mean shit in the ultimate goal of things. You want to find out how strong your rivalry is? Put a playoff in between it and see what happens. Joe, it's what's happening here. And I don't even know if Lincoln, last thing.
Yes.
Lincoln has no say in this, really. This isn't a Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley's not the decision making. Joe, these presidents are. The presidents literally are the board members to the commissioner. Lincoln Riley has no say in this whatsoever. So we put it on him. Joe, he's not the final decision maker in this either.
No, so we can't. That's kind of one of the funny things with this, by the way, is that we can't truly fault Lincoln Riley for this. He just happens to be the mouthpiece for the message. I do think you bring up a very interesting point, though. I think that a lot of these teams and conferences, and I'm not saying that Petitti's maybe projecting to handle it this way to squeeze out Notre Dame, but more so that these coaches and these presidents are building a grudge against Notre Dame and the advantage that they have, and they don't feel an incentive to schedule them, especially if you're a Big Ten team and you already have 9 conference games against teams in the Midwest. If you're going to schedule somebody, it should be somebody that is in a completely different part of the country so that you can expand your reach. You can expand your brand so that a kid in the state of Alabama or a kid in the state of Texas can see Michigan line up. That's more valuable than going to Indiana when you're already able to produce a recruiting and alumni fan base presence in those areas. It's already there. The SEC has been aggressive about scheduling Notre Dame because they know the advantage of when you get an SEC team playing Notre Dame, you make a shitload of money. Just plain and simple. It's good business. You make a shitload of money. It's probably one of the underlying factors, too, why the SEC doesn't want to jump to 9 conference games. Is we'd like to be able to add competitive, unique games like this to the mix.
Catholics and rednecks trying to make money. It's a tale as old as time.
Maybe Notre Dame should go to the SEC. Maybe that's what you
Do you think Greg Sankey, if there were an exception, do you think Greg Sankey would add them even though they're in Indiana?
Has there ever really been any negative? I know that some SEC fan bases don't like Notre Dame, but do you think has there ever really been a negative tone towards Notre Dame from SEC?
I mean, LSU fans definitely because of the BK thing.
But that's fans.
But once BK,
not fans. I'm talking
once
administration.
BK retires, that's gone. It's like the Saban thing.
Yeah.
Right. When Saban left, the LSU thing just kind of went by itself. No, not really. He just talked about being regional a lot. But I mean, listen, I'm just going to end it with this. The Big Ten is run scared in some of this. It's a shame that Ohio State doesn't get thrown in that mix. Michigan doesn't get thrown in that mix. Joe, the majority of the Big Ten looks like they're running scared. If I'm being real with you. I mean, you keep canceling games with people. You keep trying to cancel games with people. Like, that is soft. And you talk about these 9 conference games. Joe, I am so tired of hearing this. You get to play Northwestern, big dog. Sorry. Like, the Nebraska
Northwestern was good for a stretch.
Okay. No, stop. Like, I mean, come on. Joe, we talked about this. South Carolina was your 7th best team in the SEC last year. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? I know we don't want to go here. You kind of put me on this thing again. But
No. I'm not letting you go down this path.
But again, hold on. Someone's going to have
all last week.
Okay, but someone's going to have to explain to me what the Big Ten thinks they're doing by talking about scheduling to the SEC when you keep canceling games. Sorry. I mean, like, Joe, am I going fucking nuts? Am I the only dumb one here? Like, can we all not see this?
I don't disagree with you. And I didn't disagree with you last week.
I mean,
I just think we've I don't know. It's a stupid conversation, not from you. It's dumb that it was started by Lashley and Signetti, and it's been just
golly. Dumb. Got more drama than a high school girl. I mean, come on. That's getting clipped. By the way, Joe, this Deion thing, I'm just going to mention it just to mention it for people that are watching. This Deion Sanders medical thing is starting to get very real.
Yeah, I know that we kind of talked about, like, we want to wait to see what he says, but I hope he's okay. That's
I hope he's okay too.
I hope he's good. If he has to take time away, we're wishing him a speedy recovery. I hope he can coach this year. I'm going to be really disappointed if we don't have, after all this kind of hype that we had this year, it'd be really disappointing if we didn't get to have him. I like seriously, like, selfishly, I'd love to have him coaching a team this year. And I'm hoping it's nothing.
There's another report coming out of Boulder. Listen, when or whatever happens with Coach Prime, we'll just do it then. But I mean, again,